Hello and welcome to the Hot Dog and Handshake Pro Wrestling Show. I am your host, Jayden Ginswider. Joining me is my co-host, Shane Price. Shane, how you doing this week?
I'm going to say I am tired.
Yeah. Well, of course, we are coming to you once again from Sound Peak Audio Design and Development in Topeka, Kansas. And, of course, as always, we are going to start you off with the collar and elbow question of the week. This week we saw another TNA WWE collaboration on NXT. Looks like it's going to be mostly NXT based. But if we were to open this up to the whole WWE roster, what matches would you like to see come out of a TNA WWE partnership? Let's start with a tag team match you would like to see.
A tag team match.
Could be men or women, just a tag team match.
It's too bad that Robert Roode is out because is he retired? Does he count in this?
I think he's retired officially.
Dang. So not Robert Roode
Yeah.
because he would have been my first pick. Another pick would I guess for tag team. I would say let's go with I guess the girls of Destiny kind of popped in my head first.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with them and let's put them against the tag team champions of TNA, Eddie Edwards and
Steve Macklin? No.
It's
Brian Myers.
Yeah, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers.
My idea was DIY versus ABC, the Austin Bay connection.
It's a lot better than mine. Mine is thinking like, well, these two are kind of, the top right now. Bloodline's always going to be big, and Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers are somehow tag team champions. I don't know how.
What about a women's singles match you'd like to see?
I feel like getting away from the obvious Jordan Grace, because Jordan Grace just seems to be in every single one of these, that I feel like you just wouldn't. I'm not going to go with her. I don't know if you are, but I'm not going to go with her.
Okay.
So for women's, Bianca, I feel like is the one that just plug into a match and have it work.
Mine is Jordan Grace versus Bianca Belair.
That, you know what? Yeah, that's fair.
That's my women's.
I was thinking about it. I did not go with Jordan Grace. I went with Masha Slamovich versus Bianca Belair.
Okay. And then a men's singles match you would like to see happen.
This one was fairly simple to me. I'm thinking, when I think TNA, who do you think when you think TNA?
AJ Styles.
Yeah, AJ has to be in this. Like, there's no question. And my favorite wrestler in TNA right now is Josh Alexander. So there you go. AJ versus Josh Alexander. TNA versus TNA.
With Gunther versus Josh Alexander.
That's also really good.
Yeah, because that would just be an awesome match.
That's another.
But AJ Styles challenging for the world title at Slammiversary would be kind of awesome.
I would say I do the women's tag team match, but my favorite women's tag team in TNA no longer exists, so I guess we'll do one of those.
I don't really know who's rocking the women's tag division in TNA. I don't follow TNA very closely.
It's Masha and not Killer Kelly, so.
Is Masha and
it's like Alicia.
Rosemary?
No, it's Masha. I'll look at it right now.
Okay.
It's Masha and Alicia Edwards.
Alicia Edwards. Okay, that's a weird tag team. You ready to get into our outside the ring news?
Yeah, of course.
All right, last week we speculated, this is our only bit of AEW news here. Last week we speculated about a potential injury to Adam Copeland because of a dangerous spot that we all noticed during his cage match, the elbow drop where he landed legs first. So he did fracture his tibia.
Kind of brutal that he walked out on it, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's
crazy that he kept wrestling.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
And then walked out, yeah. But once again, we are not doctors, but I did do some half-assed research, and that's a 6 to 12 month injury.
No, I don't have a doctorate degree. I don't have like any meds classes. My second cousin is a nurse, so I got something there. But
yeah,
this it didn't look good.
Did not. So 6 months, that would be maybe he could return in the Continental Classic. If we're looking at more like a year, it'll be double or nothing.
It feels like double or nothing.
That's just how it always ends up. Him and Eddie Kingston both look like they have double or nothing returns next year.
Eddie's was a spot that could have been avoided.
Mm-hmm.
This was also a spot that could have been avoided. I'll be real. I said it last week. It reminds me of the Macho Man Randy Savage jumping off the cage
at the
in the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Yep.
same arena, same another cage match. Another older wrestler jumps off of it for no reason and just lands legs first.
Mm-hmm. And then in WWE news, I think first thing we talk about what has felt like it's dominated the news cycle the most this week, and that's a Becky Lynch. As we found out last week, as it was reported while we were mid-recording last week, her contract ended this past weekend. She's currently a free agent. No news on a signing. What do you think happens here?
I think she's going to take a little bit of a break. You know,
she
has a
kid,
young daughter who is like
Seth is currently not on the road either. He's injured. So
I think a very well-deserved break's happening right now, and we'll see where I think maybe the cliche 90 days. I don't think it
doesn't apply because the contract fully ran up. The 90 days only applies if it's a release notice.
However, that's 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good break period for this capacity, which would lead to All In, where she could be a huge
Here's
star.
what I think has to happen, right? Either she shows up out of nowhere at All In, or she shows up out of nowhere at SummerSlam. That's what I think happened. She's gone for a couple months. She shows up out of nowhere at one of those shows. In my mind, Becky Lynch felt like a WWE lifer, but of course, you never know. Edge felt like a WWE lifer, and we were just talking about him jumping off of a barbed wire steel cage onto Malachi Black at Double or Nothing.
Missing, but I can't wait for Rebecca Quinn to jump off of a even taller cage onto Jordan Grace at TNA Cross the Line.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting. The other news is Chad Gable's contract is supposedly up this week. So we'll see with that. Now him, I could see more likely jumping companies.
But he's being used.
He is being used.
So I feel like it's just a matter of they're having issues negotiating a renewal of these people.
Which, by the way, smart on the wrestlers.
Oh, absolutely.
Let it go all the way to the end and see what your final offers are. See what you can get from a New Japan or an AEW, or if you're not already in WWE, what you can get from a WWE. And
how much Brett Lauderdale will pay you? Is it 25? Is it 100? Is it your whole
you one
rate?
of the lucky ones that gets 110?
Although the Brett Lauderdale, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see. I mean, Chad Gable would tear up the Indies. For one.
And you put him in a Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, and I will watch that.
His former tag team partner Shelton Benjamin, currently also a free agent. That would be an awesome reunion. Anywhere they go, he would tear up AEW, he would tear up TNA, he would tear up New Japan, no matter what. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they both end up back with WWE.
I feel like, yeah.
But if you had to pick one
longer.
of them to leave, I think it's Chad Gable.
I think realistically it's Chad Gable, but the Khan
if
family.
You told me like you had some otherworldly knowledge and you know one of them is leaving WWE, but you don't tell me which one, I'm guessing it's Chad.
Yeah. Well, if you put it like that, I'm going to say it's Becky Lynch.
Really? You think Becky Lynch is more likely?
Well, if you put it like you have otherworldly knowledge that one of them's not leaving, but I won't tell you who, like it's Becky then.
Okay.
But
Bayley versus Piper Niven was announced for Clash of the Castle. Let's do a little lightning round preview. Excitement level out of 10 for that match.
I mean, I guess like a 5. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm at a 5. The story over the next couple weeks could push me higher.
Yeah.
And then LA Knight and Logan Paul had a little Twitter back and forth. What are your thoughts on a potential LA Knight, Logan Paul U.S. title match?
I feel like it's easy to have a back and forth for Logan Paul, though.
It is. But what would you think of LA Knight, Logan Paul having a title match?
I think it's okay. I mean, Logan is, with no offense.
People have been calling for months for LA Knight to be the guy to dethrone Logan Paul. So,
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think Logan would kind of be the one to carry that in terms of ability in the ring, but psychology-wise, it would be LA Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be a good clash of styles. You know, Logan's that kind of celebrity, do all the flashy moves left and right.
Is this the kind of match you book for a Clash at the Castle?
Yeah.
Because these are two guys that I think a a foreign crowd are really going to want to see on their card. You know what
This
I
is
mean?
the type of crowd.
They're
This
both
is
so over.
the type of match that if I'm debating if I want to go or not, and I see these two on it, especially because KSI will get involved.
Or some other random big
it'll be
YouTuber
it'll
or
be
streamer.
KSI. They're
Oh,
in
'cause
the
he's
UK.
British,
Yeah,
isn't he?
he's
I
from
forgot
like
that.
London, but he's gonna be involved. So that's another reason why you think, oh, Logan Paul's gonna win.
Oh,
His
yeah.
KSI is gonna in prime.
Mhm. So, yeah. And then finally, the biggest WWE news that came out this week. This is the headline from the ESPN article I saw here was suit against Vince McMahon paused at Justice Department's request. Mike Coppinger from ESPN reported on this. He said the woman accusing Vince McMahon of sexual misconduct agreed to pause her lawsuit against the former WWE CEO after a request from the Justice Department. Her attorney told ABC News on Thursday. So this, of course, is the Janelle Grant suit, the 67-page lawsuit that we saw come out in January. So what have you seen people saying are potential ramifications of this?
Well, it's a federal investigation. That's it.
It's just under federal investigation.
Yeah, Vince. They're pausing it because the United States of America has become a interested party, I believe, is the term, and they're pending it due to private investigation, which sure sounds like it's a federal investigation to me.
That does sound like a federal investigation. So we'll see how that plays out. Of course, as we get updates, we will report them here on the show. But
this is legitimately probably the worst possible thing that could happen to WWE right now, because they will uncover all of it.
Absolutely. So we will see how that goes. In news from other wrestling companies around the world, first, Taiji Ishimori and El Desperado to meet in the Best of Super Juniors finals, bringing an official end to Hiromu Takahashi's Best of Super Junior streak.
I hope he runs in and pins both of them.
Yeah. So we will see. We'll predict that later, but based on the field we had, how excited are you for this to be the result that we're getting?
It's all right.
I think it's pretty good. They're both great.
Pretty solid match, all things considered. I really, really wish Dragon Dia would have done better, but I can't have everything in this life.
Yep.
However, I think out of the New Japan guys, realistically, if it wasn't gonna be a New Japan guy, it would have been some big junior heavyweight from Noah or All Japan.
I feel like if a New Japan guy. If there was going to be someone in the finals that wasn't from New Japan, it was probably Ninja Mac.
Which is incredible. As I saw him in a tiny indoor soccer arena in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, not even like 2 years ago. So,
Mustafa Ali has announced that he is quote unquote running for president of professional wrestling.
he has my vote.
Who do you think should run against him?
I think he should be unopposed.
But here's my idea, right? Somebody should run against him and build up to a big match, like right at the beginning of November, or maybe like the last couple days of October, right? Depending on the scheduling. And I think that person should be the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
I like that. There's so much you can do with this. I can see it depends on where they're gonna have the story end.
Well, because you can imagine them just putting doing a random New Japan of America show in whatever city at the beginning of November, San Jose, or maybe expand a little bit.
I think
because November 2nd, that Saturday before or something, you could do some sort of.
If it's gonna be in New Japan, you could have it be Hiroshi. If it's gonna be in GCW, it'd be kind of fun to have Matt Cardona kind of try to parlay himself as not just the GM but the president of pro wrestling and have Ali face him for it and go over, which would be really funny.
Yeah.
Or TNA. There's a TV you could have on TNA. You could have debates on TNA. I think that'd be fun.
That is true. And
Steve Macklin is the TNA.
Steve
Macklin.
Here, let me look at the TNA roster, see who I think would be some good representatives to run against him. Joe Hendry would be funny.
Yeah.
Joe Hendry running against him.
Especially because he's English and
not American. That That would make a lot of sense. Let's see who else we have here. Kushida running against him would be funny.
I like how you're only mentioning the not American wrestlers.
Cardona has worked with TNA pretty recently.
That's true.
So if you did the Cardona thing, even if it ended at GCW, you could run debates on TNA TV. Matt Hardy would be really funny as a third-party candidate that nobody votes for. He doesn't even end up in the match.
No, let's have Broken Matt Hardy be in like the debates, doing his like, weird thing. Thinking it's still 2016 would be even better.
Yeah, that is true. Thinking it's still 2016 would be a really, really funny move. Yeah, I think there's some good options out there, but I think the best one would be Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Oh yeah, probably. In terms of in the ring, yeah.
And then a couple just smaller things. MLW is moving their pay-per-views to YouTube for paid members, so that's $7.99 a month. Honestly, if you are a fan of indie wrestling, it's paying $8 to watch an MLW show here and there is not terrible.
I disagree.
I disagree with the winner of the Battle Riot.
I was
going to watch it.
I know you
and
do.
Then I found out he won, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch this anymore.
I know you do. However, I disagree, as it was already on Triller Plus
for
$7.99 a month.
Okay.
Which would include not
way
just
more.
MLW.
Okay. Yes, it's a way better value to do the Triller Plus. But now, for those of you who didn't know that and maybe don't even know about MLW, it's if you want to take a peek into indie wrestling, MLW is kind of I think they're kind of on that lowest tier that still gets like national exposure.
Yeah.
Kind of with a GCW, with a NWA. So, and I think honestly they're better than the NWA, and they're a less niche product. They're a broader product than GCW is. So I think it's a good way to kind of look into what's happening on the indies.
It's kind of like how Ring of Honor used to be.
Yeah, and MLW, they work with CMLL, they work with New Japan. So you have some of that in there too, which, I mean, who doesn't work with New Japan at this point? They've really cracked that wide open.
As long as you book Mystico, I'm there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then we have a new GCW World Champion. You want to talk about it?
I do want to talk about it because my boy, that total asshole that is Vance Warner, literally deciding to win the title. He's tried on so many occasions to cash in his. I think it's called do or die. Finally, Janela wins the title. Everybody's celebrating. Mance comes in, spikes him on his head, wins, and Cardona, Steph the Lander, Broski Jimmy, all out there to celebrate. So it feels like we might be getting the payoff to the whole Broski Jimmy thing sooner rather than later. Because when Cardona got hurt, it felt like that was on the back burner.
Put a pause on that story.
Put a pause because they were building. They already been building shit for a while. Like Cardona was flat out yelling at him in St. Louis in March.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to see a title shot August 31st in Chicago. Jimmy Lloyd versus Vance Warner.
All right.
Book it.
Yeah, we'll see. On to the TV of the week, starting with AEW, as we always do. On Dynamite, what did you think of the Learning Tree segment with Chris Jericho? Kind of a repackaged, goofier version of the highlight reel.
It is goofier. I feel like we're in a vicious cycle of Jericho where it's kind of good for now. It overstayed its welcome, and we're all moaning about it a month from now.
When this was announced, I was like, yeah, I kind of like the idea of this. And then as it was going on, I was like, I kind of hate this segment.
But I think it's the point. I think you're supposed to hate it.
Yeah, I get that you're supposed to hate him because he's a heel and he does bad things angle. I don't think you're supposed to hate that. It's dumb to do something where you're supposed to hate a wrestler because they're annoying. You know what I mean?
So to kind of parlay this into a question, do you not like the current Young Bucks gimmick? Because that's how I feel about it. I feel like they're trying to be annoying and it really works.
No, but see, I think the difference is Chris Jericho is trying to be more meta with it.
I guess, yeah.
And the Young Bucks are real life authority figures, so they're trying to be annoying bosses right? Which is like an archetype of character that we've seen in media all over the place. You know what I mean? So, like, honestly, the Young Bucks are trying to be Michael Scott with evil intent.
They're trying to be
right?
they're trying to be the guy from Office Space.
Yeah, okay. I've never seen Office Space, but
You
it's on my watch list.
You should watch it
eventually. But I have like 200 movies on my watch list right now. So it's kind of different because also he like started using the Jericho Vortex thing, which was just kind of a Twitter lingo for his storylines that would last months and months and months, which we've talked about on this podcast before. I think definitely last year when we were coming back. So I don't know. It's just I didn't really like this. Maybe the gimmick will grow on me, but I just don't like gimmicks where somebody's annoying for annoying's sake. I want to boo you because you are a bad person. I want to boo you because you turned on your father, who everyone loves. You know, the way Dominic gets booed.
I want to boo you because you screwed your friend out of the world title. I don't want to boo you because you remind me of my boss.
I want to boo you because you punted a baby into the crowd.
No, it wasn't his fault.
Look up Gene Snitsky.
It wasn't his fault.
For those of you who don't know that reference.
Can't believe you.
Next up on Dynamite, Jon Moxley versus Rocky Romero was kind of a banger match for just an eliminator.
Of course it was.
It was really good.
It isn't the stakes does not matter when you put two guys like Moxley and Romero.
You know
in
how
the
we
ring.
talk about Baron Corbin as the good hand in WWE? I think Rocky Romero might be the good hand that always loses in AEW. You know what I mean?
Except he's good in the ring, so
he's better in the ring, but Corbin's the good hand that always loses.
Yeah,
right. And I think Rocky Romero's that in AEW, which makes sense that he's better in the ring because that's the whole thesis of AEW. This is a better in-ring product as an alternative to what you see in WWE. That was the whole mission statement. And then we had the Casino Gauntlet, which is my favorite match type in wrestling.
It is so good.
It is so awesome. Once again, won by Will Ospreay. Before we get there, we had Jay White, Pac, Mystico, Will Ospreay, Shota Umino, Claudio Castagnoli, Lio Rush, Orange Cassidy, and Hechicero. You know what I noticed out of that as I was watching the match? 2 of those 9 men are American. You had Jay White from New Zealand, Pac from England, Mystico from Mexico, Ospreay from England, Shota Umino from Japan, Claudio's from Sweden, Lio Rush and Orange Cassidy are your Americans, and then Hechicero from Mexico. So a very international flair to this one.
I like it. I realistically, I knew that Mystico, Hechicero, Shota Umino weren't gonna win.
Umino should have won.
However, I think Mystico or Shota Umino should have won. I think Mystico would have been a sensational
Mystico
match.
or Shota Umino, either one of them should have won. But we get to get Ospreay winning. And here's my gripes.
But he just won another title.
For one, if we were doing this, the Kingdom should have cheated him in his title match so that his only blemish on his AEW record was by cheating. Right?
Yeah.
At Double or Nothing, Roderick Strong should have won because he cheated. So, and then 2, if there's any title in AEW that shouldn't be locked up in another feud at Forbidden Door, it's the international title. This show is about bringing stars from Japan and now stars from Mexico into AEW for a big cross-branded show to show off the world talents of wrestling, right? So why is the international title locked up in the world title feud? Why couldn't we have just done like Roddy wins by cheating at Double or Nothing, and then we get like Roddy versus Hechicero at Forbidden Door? You know what I mean? I don't know. Or Roddy versus Zack Sabre Jr. or something. But realistically, with the guys in this match, I think Shota Umino or Mystico should have won. But we saw Ospreay win. It'll be a fantastic match, but it probably should have waited till All In. And if we're doing this, Ospreay shouldn't have won the international title.
No.
So, 2 notes from Rampage, which we don't normally have. On AEW on Dynamite because of Adam Copeland's injury. We found out they stripped him of the TNT title. The Young Bucks were going to hand it to Jack Perry. New authority figure interim EVP Christopher Daniels announced that instead they're going to have a ladder match with qualifying matches. So I think he said, did he say 6 men?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think it's going to be like? 4 from AEW, 1 from New Japan, 1 from CMLL, 3 AEW, 2 New Japan,
I
1
want to say
CMLL?
3, 2, 1.
I like that.
I think Jack Perry is going to be involved.
We know Takeshi will be involved. He beat Penta on Rampage, which I was going to watch. I just was really busy this weekend and ran out of time.
I feel like we're going to see the Elite get involved in Jack Perry's match, and maybe the ladder match, which
So
I'm not going to be a big fan of. But
Jack Perry, who's the third from AEW that you would throw in that?
somebody who's on Team AEW.
Oh, somebody who was on Team AEW. I don't know about them.
Really?
I think they're all kind of beat up.
Okay.
But I was thinking a little Daniel Garcia.
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. Yeah. I think Daniel Garcia should be.
Daniel Garcia would be he should be the move to win, too.
And then from New Japan and CMLL, we don't got to go over the options because there's so many good ones. But
there's too many, I think,
too
to
many
go
good,
over right now.
Good what? Too many good mid-carders in both of those companies. But, I mean, if this is where you use Mystico in the ladder match, I would not be angry. Also,
give me Hechicero just putting people in submissions.
Well,
and
speaking of
mat
Hechicero,
wrestling in a ladder match,
Cage of Agony has recruited the likes of Hechicero. So I think we'll probably see some 8-man tag based around that. Probably on the buy-in to Forbidden Door or the whatever they call
hopefully
it.
the main card. Personally,
0 hour.
I think Hechicero should be on the main card.
Hechicero should be on the main card, but like once again, there's only so many spots on a show like this, and there's 3 hugely talented rosters. So, but a main card.
4.
Who would you? Oh, 4 because of Stardom. I was just thinking about the men's roster, but yeah, 4 because of Stardom. Who do you think who would you want to see this? Would you want to see them versus like a combination of AEW and New Japan guys?
I think just like that, like a ragtag bunch of guys who weren't booked for it. So maybe like a workhorseman.
Who would have beef with the Cage of Agony? Do we have anybody?
Not really. It's why I
it's
think
just
it's just
really.
going to be though. It's just going to be like a Trench and Parker Boudreaux.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's going to be a let's get guys on a card kind of match, not a build match.
What about them versus like Shibata and 3 current members of Chaos?
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
If Daniel Garcia is in the ladder match, if Daniel Garcia is not in the ladder match, them versus Shibata and Garcia and 2 members of Chaos.
Toriano has to be in there.
Toriano
First of all, he has to
and
be in
Ishii.
Yeah.
And if Daniel Garcia is not there, Hiromu.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. On Collision, a couple things. I do have a note here. Speaking of Garcia and Shibata, Daniel Garcia and Katsuyori Shibata deserve all of the tag titles. AEW, Ring of Honor, IWGP, CMLL, all of them should go on to these guys. And then Ospreay versus Kyle O'Reilly. What a match. That was a banger they had. If you have not watched that from Collision, you got to go check it out. It was incredible. Moving on to Raw, unless do you have any notes on Collision?
No.
Okay. Moving on to Raw. I feel like we kind of had a stacked show with Raw this week. There was the Strowman-McDonough running gag through the night, literally running as Strowman was chasing McDonough after their match, which was really fun. We got to talk about Braun Breaker, though. Did you see the clip from the fan perspective?
Every single clip I see of Braun Breaker just...
Yeah, he's like a leopard. The way he ran into the ring.
That man is not a human anymore.
Yeah.
He is evolved past humanity.
Is there any choice other than him for Money in the Bank?
No.
Yeah, like it's got to be Braun. He's so ready. He is so good. Just the way he jumped that barricade and just so smoothly ran in and obliterated Ricochet. And I think we're building to a Ricochet, Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov triple threat at Clash of the Castle.
I hope Ricochet just gets like obliterated by both of them and spends the rest of the match on the floor.
Yeah,
that'd be sensational.
Comes in right at the end and hits some crazy high fly.
Oh yeah, and maybe even wins.
Did you see the Awesome Truth New Day ice cream truck segment?
Yes, it was
very funny.
It's probably the best comedy we've seen in WWE since.
Yeah, R-Truth is incredible.
I need R-Truth and Stokely to interact at some point for any company ever.
Yep. I feel like every day we get closer and closer to the potential. We see WWE working with more companies. We get closer and closer to the potential AEW crossover, but I still am very low hopes it'll ever happen. You know
They were in the same company for like a year and a half, maybe 2, and nothing happened between them.
Yeah. Lyra Valkyria versus Kairi Sane was an incredible TV match. One of the better ones I've seen from Valkyria, just for TV matches, not like counting long pay-per-view outings. We got Rey Mysterio versus Carlito, which was the first time these two wrestled on WWE TV since, I think it was either October 12th or December 10th. I don't remember. I have the date mixed up.
It was one of the
2004 on SmackDown, a match also called by Michael Cole. They have wrestled. The last time they wrestled a televised match, though, was in 5-Star Wrestling on a show in Scotland. In some tournament, they wrestled in the semifinals of it.
That's
in like 2017.
That is a pull and
a
half.
The Alpha Academy and Sami Zayn. Did you see this segment? Okay. So we start with Chad Gable's going to whip Otis.
It is
with his belt.
Best parts of Raw every week.
Yes, it's Chad Gable. Whatever Chad Gable does is the best part of Raw every week. And Maxine looks distraught. He kind of verbally abuses Maxine for a second. Tozawa doesn't know what to do. And right before he does it, Sami Zayn comes out and stops him. This has just been incredible heel work from Chad Gable. It is so perfect.
Not even that. The crowd is fully behind Otis again.
Oh, absolutely. The crowd's behind Otis. Everyone, Maxine Dupree is so great at selling how upset she is. This is not like in-ring selling. Her promo selling is incredible. Just showing the emotion. Everybody feels bad for Maxine. It feels bad for Tozawa. And they want to get behind Otis. They're behind Sammy. It is so good. And then, of course, we saw potentially the last Monday Night Raw match of Becky Lynch's career against Liv Morgan for the world title in a steel cage. Liv wins. Dominic helps again. And then Liv Morgan kisses Dominic. It's important to say that they didn't share a kiss. Liv Morgan kissed Dominic. He was not expecting it. And it wasn't even on the American TV feed.
It was not.
It got cut off.
It was like the top trending video in wrestling on Twitter right after the fact.
So Raw's cooking right now. SmackDown feels very boring. I didn't watch SmackDown this week because, like I said, I was really busy this weekend. But I'm not too upset about that because it doesn't seem like I missed much. We'll talk about one segment. But Raw is really cooking right now. And this episode flew by for me. It felt perfectly paced. Like, by the time it was coming to the end, I was like, has it been 3 hours already?
And how many 3-hour Raws have felt like that?
Maybe 3 all time. 3-hour Raws, usually you hit a point where you're like, this is going a while. But this one I was just in. I really liked it. So, great episode of Raw this week. And, so we'll talk about Raw next week, too, when we get to our lightning round segment. I'm very excited. Or Raw tonight, I guess, as we're recording this. On NXT, we got 2 things to talk about. First, did you see the reveal of the NXT Women's North American title?
How could I not? They had a celebrity.
Yeah, it was Sexy Red.
Yes.
Who revealed it. I don't know much about her at all, but apparently she's popular, and she revealed the belt, and it is a great belt. So, excited to see that match. We'll talk about that here in a minute when we get to Battleground predictions. And then Ethan Page and Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace coming over from TNA. Ethan Page, apparently, according to Sean Ross Sapp, signing with WWE. What did you think of, let's start with Jordan Grace. What did you think of that?
I think it was a very good surprise. I really do feel like this was supposed to be Julia. However,
injury.
Begrudgingly, an injured Julia had to miss 2 very big matches that would have been maybe in my top 10 women's matches at the end of the year. However, this is a great replacement.
Absolutely.
Maybe even maybe the best you could get.
Exactly.
Poor Roxanne Perez is going to be put through the ringer.
You know what? Roxanne Perez, with where she came from Reality Wrestling and Ring of Honor, I think she can take it.
Yeah, probably.
I think she's got a little bit of a tougher background than we give her credit for. And then Ethan Page debuting and attacking Trick Williams. What do you think of this?
I think you said that you'd only see where he's going to go.
I don't really see where. I don't see what the best case scenario is.
He's
going to
be a career NXT guy, and that's fine.
I guess. Yeah. It doesn't feel like there's room for him to go in that company. I looked it up. I think he was like 35, which isn't. He's 34, which isn't old in wrestling terms, but that's kind of when you start seeing wrestlers hit the peak of their career. And if this is the peak of Ethan Page that we're going to be seeing over the next few years, what are we really getting out of this? Like, what is there in WWE for him? Does he win the Intercontinental title a couple times? He's not going to be a world champion. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a good fit for Ethan Page.
No.
Who I like. I really like Ethan Page, but we'll see how this goes. I'm excited to see him work with Trick Williams. What were your thoughts?
I am too. I think it'll be a pretty solid match. I think the women's match overshadows it. I think the women's match should main event. But
Well, I don't think the men's match isn't happening at Battleground as announced right now.
is it
There's no NXT title match announced for Battleground right now.
weird?
But we do have one episode of NXT before we get there.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I think this is going to be a pretty solid main event. I think the women's match should go above it though. It's interesting to see how they're going to play off the Apex crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that is in Las Vegas, so I should tell you something. But I think it'll be exciting, and I think we'll see how. I mean, we'll just have to see.
There's the Apex setup is one of the more interesting parts of this Battleground card show for me, as I want to see what that looks like. But also, there's some great matches, and we'll get to that in a minute. There was one notable segment on SmackDown, which was AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes, and Mark Henry. Or not Mark Henry, but like AJ Styles mimicking Mark Henry with the retirement speech. Henry did the salmon blazer. AJ Styles was in a baby blue blazer. Shout out Owen Hart.
Not even like just kind of honor. Like he did the same exact he did the same song and dance as Mark Henry did.
Mm-hmm.
It was the exact same,
which is
thing.
great because that's one of the all-time great segments.
Awesome. I think this should happen more often. Personally, that Mark Henry segment was one of the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
Not in any of the company days. One of the best promos of all time.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see where this goes. It seems like we're leading to a Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, potentially Clash of the Castle. I mean, you can't do that card without Cody Rhodes, and I'm sure those fans want to see AJ Styles also.
Yes.
On to some predictions. We have two shows. We're going to start with NJPW Dominion. And as we start off, we have a fatal four-way tag team match. So, Shane, I need you to flip a coin for me. Our competitors here are Bullet Club Gold, or not Bullet Club Gold, sorry, Bullet Club Regular.
Bullet Club Gold.
Chase Owens and Kenta, who are the IWGP Tag Team Champions, versus Gorillas of Destiny, who are the Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions.
Which involves neither original Gorilla of
yes,
Destiny.
it is El Phantasmo and Hikuleo. Versus TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste, versus Bishamon. For those of you who don't know, that's Haruki Goto and Yoshihashi. For both the IWGP and Strong Openweight Tag Team titles, did you flip the coin? I'm going to guess tails.
Nope, it's heads.
Heads. All right, so you get the first pick.
Bishamon.
You're going to go Bishamon. Okay.
I don't even need my options.
options,
Don't even
but
need
okay.
my options.
Because, we have Bishamon, Owens and Kenta, Phantasmo and Hikuleo, and Nichols and Haste. So you're going to go Bishamon?
Yep.
I am going to go... I'll go with the Bullet Club. I'll go Chase Owens and Kenta. So you got Phantasmo and Hikuleo or TMDK?
I think out of those two, I love both of them.
Mm.
I think the Gorillas are going to have slight edge over TMDK.
I wanted TMDK out of those two. So I would have rather had Bishamon, but I'll take Bullet Club and TMDK. And then for the New Japan Television Championship, we have Jeff Cobb defending against Tomohiro Ishii. I don't know. 'Cause it feels like it'd probably be a fine time.
I think the meat industry wins in this match.
Yeah, definitely. This is a certified sirloin beefsteak match. Jeff Cobb has had the title for 1 month. I think you give him a little bit longer of a time with that.
Especially because it's New Japan and it's not Tetsuya Naito. I'm going to go Cobb.
Cobb. All right. Next up, we have Yuya Uemura defending the KOPW title against Great-O-Khan in a storm catch match.
So
Neither of us know what this is.
I feel like it's going to be a catch rules match with some wacky scenario slipped on it.
Yeah.
In that case, I'm picking Yomura.
Yeah, I'm just going to go... You know what? I'm going to go with the title change for the fun of it. I'm going to go Great-O-Khan. I have no read on this match.
I do like Great-O-Khan. I'll be real. Like his Twitter is an amazing follow.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I just...
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I hear you. For the Never Openweight Championship, we have Shingo Takagi defending against Hanare. I'm going to go with Shingo. I think he's going to hold on to it in the Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I like Hanare. He's like the only Maori wrestler there actually is right now. But that obviously leads to an insane look. Like he looks like he is going to kill you. That being said, I think Shingo is a big enough draw in America where you put him over Hanare and Forbidden Door. So I'm gonna go with Hanare.
All right,
not Hanare, I mean Shingo.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Now we have the Best of Super Juniors final. El Desperado, Taiji Ishimori. Sho is still the junior heavyweight champion, right?
Oh, well, that answers my question. Despy.
You go in with Despy. Let me check. Yes, Sho is still the champion. I believe he beat Desperado.
He cheated. Yes. He cheated to beat Desperado too. That leads me to think they're going to rematch.
Desperado. So we're going to rematch it. I'm also going to go with Despy. And then in our main event, we have Jon Moxley defending against Evil in a lumberjack death match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I think Mox holds the title in the Forbidden Door.
Storm hits an arena and we go home.
I'm going to go with Mox because I think he holds the title and drops it at Forbidden Door.
If Evil wins, I will stop watching New Japan again. Jon Moxley.
All right.
To save the world. Actually, I would love to know who's going to be in the Lumberjacks. I'm assuming that we're going to get like Dick Togo and the other old dude and
Shoto will be out there. So House of Torture will be out there. Shota Umino will be out there.
I guess Chaos.
Claudio?
Then.
Do you think Claudio shows up?
Maybe the BCC and
some
Chaos.
young boys probably to fill out the crowd.
Yeah.
Maybe the BCC, maybe Chaos. I don't know. You could have some fun. Ligers randomly out there or something. Some legends randomly out there.
Masahiro Chono just shows up and starts yelling.
Rocky Romero. Be interesting. Maybe
that'd be
some
fun.
drama.
That'd be fun.
Because he just wrestled Moxley. So to recap, in the four-way match, if you didn't recognize it as we did it, what we do is if there's a 4 or more party match, we draft to get picks. So I got Bullet Club and TMDK. Shane got Bishamon and the Guerrillas of Destiny. We both picked Jeff Cobb. I picked Great-O-Khan. You picked Yuya Uemura. And then we both picked Shingo, Despy, and Mox for Dominion. Sounds like a fun card. I'm excited. Moving on, we have another draft. So since you drafted first in that one, I'll pick first in this. This is for NXT Battleground. For ladder match for the NXT Women's North American title, Mia Yim versus Fallon Henley versus Lash Legend versus Sol Ruka versus Jada Parker versus Kalani Jordan. And if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, you know I'm picking Sol Ruka. She's our girl. She's got to win this. I'm going Sol Ruka.
If you were the one person who's listening to this show before this episode, congratulations. You know about this.
Yep.
What are the options again?
Mia Yim, Fallon Henley, Lash Legend, Jada Parker, and Kalani Jordan.
Fallon Henley.
Okay. I am going to go with Lash Legend. So you have Mia Yim, Jada Parker, or Kalani Jordan?
Mia Yim.
Mia Yim. All right. I'm going to go with Kalani Jordan. If I can figure out how to type it. Here we go. And that leaves you with Jada Parker.
That's fine.
All right. So you have Fallon, Mia, and Parker. I have Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, and Kalani. Next up, we have Shayna Baszler versus Lola Vice in an NXT Underground match. I have no read on this, really.
No idea.
I'm just going to go with Baszler because it seems like her kind of place.
Well, it is also in UFC Apex, so there's no chance she doesn't win.
Right,
Especially if this is like a pre-recorded match and it's in the octagon. It's over.
For the NXT Men's North American title, We have Obafemi versus Joe Coffey versus Wes Lee. Since this is just a triple threat, no draft, we'll just each pick our winner. And I think Wes Lee comes close, but I think Obafemi holds on to the title for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Obafemi's going to hold on to it.
I think maybe Wes Lee will eventually dethrone him in some sort of singles competition, but not this weekend. Next, we have the NXT Tag Team titles on the line. Axiom and Nathan Frazier defending against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the OC. I mean, I think that Axiom and Frazier hold on here. What do you got? Think the OC are going to win?
No, Axiom. I think Axiom and Nathan Frazier will hold on to it for a bit longer.
All right. For the NXT Women's Championship, we have Roxanne Perez defending against Jordynne Grace.
As much as I would love a Jordynne Grace,
It'd be crazy if she won.
Random title run brings it back to TNA. No,
I think
they're building towards Julia.
There's a chance, but I think Roxy wins.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going with Roxy. So recap there. In the women's ladder match, I have Sol Ruca, Lash Legend, and Kalani Jordan. Shane has Fallon and Hindley. Mia Yim and Jada Parker. And in the rest of the matches, we both have Baszler, both have Obafemi, both have Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and both have Roxanne Perez. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, I won both of the predictions for King and Queen of the Ring and for Double or Nothing. And I have total points. I am up 10-8, and wins I'm up 2-0. So we'll see how it goes. Next up, we have Jayden's miscellaneous notes. So if you were new here, this is where I write down a few things I notice. They don't seem like they should be full talking points, but I think are worth a mention. First off here, I have one positive of the Cope situation is that he has time to grow his hair back out if he would like. Just something. And then the next two happened while watching Dynamite. A Bostonian celebrating a title win in the Forum feels wrong.
Yes.
That was, of course, being Mercedes Moné. And eliminator matches serve no purpose. In all of wrestling history, if you beat the champion in a non-title match, you get a shot. So I've always known that I didn't really care about eliminator matches, but when that clicked this week, I was like, these really are dumb. So there you go, Tony Khan. You're not perfect, but close to it. Next up, favorite things of the week. This, of course, is where I hand out the gold, silver, and bronze hot dog. You hand out the gold, silver, and bronze handshakes. So, Shane, this week, what are you going to give that bronze handshake
It was
to?
tough because Raw was really good, but there's also a lot of really good things on AEW this week. I decided I'm going to keep it going. Chad Gable is one of my favorite things every single week.
All right, Chad Gable. For me, the bronze hot dog is going to go to Will Ospreay and Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's an awesome match. What are you going to give the silver handshake to?
I was thinking really hard about what it could be. I picked Moxley and
Romero?
Yeah, Romero. That was another good match.
Yep, another great match from AEW this week. For the silver, I just gave it to all of Monday Night Raw.
That's fair.
I just thought it was a great show top to bottom.
I was really debating Gable or Raw. I really liked Gable more.
Really want to shout out Gable. I like that. What gets the gold handshake? What was the best?
The Casino Gauntlet match.
Yep, same. The Casino Gauntlet match.
You put Mystico in there. You put Hechicero in
Honestly,
there.
Honestly, that match type just might get it for me every time. Just like every year, one of the Royal Rumbles is going to get the gold. Royal Rumble weekend.
Yeah.
Every time they do this match, it might just get the gold from me. It's just such a perfect match type.
It's like the Rumble Survivor Series. Like if it's that one match type, like, oh yeah, this is our favorite thing of the week, easily.
Yep, absolutely. Now for the lightning round, this is the sometimes not so fast round where we go through all the matches that are happening on TV this week. Shane gives me an excitement level out of 1 to 10, and then we both hand out our Ty Dillinger 10 of the week. Starting off on Monday Night Raw, we have 5 matches, which we were talking about this earlier. Kind of feels like the good reception to the King and Queen of the Ring tournament Raws has led them to say, hey, let's put more wrestling on Raw. People like it when we have more wrestling on this 3-hour program. So that's what I'm excited about. Starting off, we have Kiana James versus Natalya. What do you got out of 10?
No, you got out of 10.
An easiest 0 I've ever given.
I feel like a 3.
Okay. Finn Balor versus Dragon Lee.
You see,
That's a Ty Dillinger contender.
If this was like 8 years ago, and not in WWE, this would be a sensational match.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there. I'm gonna give it an 8 for now. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser.
Anytime you put Sheamus in with anybody from Imperium, you know it's gonna be.
It's
good.
gonna be awesome.
This is another 8.
All right, the Authors of Pain versus the New Day.
5.
5.
I don't really care for the Authors of Pain.
Yeah,
I like Paul
fair.
Erling.
Mm-hmm.
He's cool.
Yeah, that's fair. Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio, non-title.
I feel like you could stick Ray anywhere, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 7.
I mean, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. I'm excited.
Ray is he's one of those guys.
Yep. On NXT, we're gonna have Jordan Grace versus Stevie Turner.
I don't know.
I think I'm just excited to see her on a weekly WWE TV.
I am. Like I am. I don't.
Because Stevie Turner's. I mean, she's a newer face to NXT, so she's not really up the card much. But I don't know.
I
Still
fear
pretty solid.
it might be a squash. So I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay. Tia Hale versus Jasmine Nix.
Another 6.
Izzy Dame versus Carmen Petrovich.
A lot of women's matches. A lot of these newer women that I've never heard of before. I'm gonna give it another 6, I guess. Like
Okay.
I'm intrigued because I've heard of them that much.
Yeah. And Tony D'Angelo versus Damon Kemp for the NXT Heritage Cup.
The Don, a guy who viciously murdered Drew Gulak in cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tony D'Angelo ever since he came from my local crappy indie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
All right.
I think I'm friends of his uncle on my old Facebook account.
That's weird. On Dynamite, we have 2 matches. First, Saraya versus Mariah May.
0.
Yep. And Swerve Strickland versus Roderick Strong for the AEW title.
9.
I think that's my Ty Dillinger 10 of the week.
If I'm not having a 10, that'll be my Ty Dillinger 10 of the week.
All right. I don't think you'll hand out a 10 to SmackDown, but let's see. Angel Garza versus Apollo Crews.
Well, again, if this wasn't WWE, it'd be really exciting. 7.
Indy Hartwell versus Jade Cargill.
5.
Okay. And Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller.
5.
I'm a little higher on that because those guys did have a banger on an NXT pay-per-view not that long ago. So I'm a little higher on that. Probably like an 8 on that one. But yeah, I think Ty Dillinger 10 of the week for me is Swerve and Roddy.
Yeah, if I have to have a 10, I'm gonna put that as a 10, and I'm gonna put the 8 on Raw as a 9.
Yeah, that's fair. Finally, our match recommendation of the week. Since Becky Lynch has been in the news a lot, I thought I'd send people back just a ways. I think if you haven't seen it before, check out Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks from Hell in a Cell 2019. It's an awesome match for both of them, and there's a little bit of fun to it if you think about the current state of wrestling. Where's Becky Lynch going to go? Mercedes Moné over in AEW, formerly known as Sasha Banks. So I think that's an interesting spot. Definitely go check that match out. And yeah, I think that's it for the show. If you haven't listened to our classic review from last week already, we did King of the Ring 1998. That came out on Friday. Coming out this Friday will be the first NXT TakeOver from 2014, which we just at the end of May would have been the 10-year anniversary of. So check that out this Friday. Definitely go follow us on Spotify and Twitter. Twitter is just at HDHPod. We also subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the videos. That helps a lot. Thanks again to Soundpeak Audio Design and Development for hosting us. And anything else from you, Shane?
No.
All right. Enjoy wrestling.